April 1996. 19-year-old Stacy Stites was just days away from her wedding, but she would never make it to the altar. Fast forward nearly 20 years, Rodney Reed on death row for her murder.
A couple of weeks, it's turned into 16 years almost now.
Case closed, or is it? Many have their doubts. Could Rodney Reed be another innocent man waiting to be executed for a crime he didn't commit?
You never killed Stacy.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Reed's been on death row for 15 years, living out a nightmare. A black man convicted by an all-white jury that never got the chance to hear all the evidence. Evidence Reed's attorneys believe could set him free.
My innocence, my innocence, my family, my loved ones, my friends, and my supporters, they all behind me. I got to continue to fight.
Reed's legal team, including his lawyer Bryce Benjett, who's now with the Innocence Project, has amassed a war chest full of new expert statements and challenges to forensic evidence the state relied on to prove Reed's guilt. The latest revelation comes from former Travis County medical examiner Dr. Roberto Bayardo, the man who originally examined Stites' corpse. In a court document, the doctor now challenges the prosecution's use of the time of death and says sperm found could have been deposited days before her death.
The state framed the case as a simultaneous rape and murder. Dr. Bayardo's testimony absolutely refutes that. It's absolutely impossible that there was a simultaneous rape and murder by Mr. Reed.
When I asked the original prosecutor for a comment, the Texas Attorney General's office declined an interview. Instead, sent me this stack of paperwork simply stating the motion should be denied.
Rodney Reed tells a really good story.
In an interview that aired on KI in 2001, here's what prosecutor Lisa Tanner had to say.
How could he have not killed her when his semen got into her body at the time of her death?
Reed's attorneys say the doctor's new statements back what Reed has been saying all along, that he was in a consensual relationship with Stites.
Mr. Reed and Ms. Stites did indeed have sexual intercourse, but it was at least 24 hours before Ms. Stites was killed. And more importantly, it was consensual.
All the evidence that's there is, even at trial, the whole case was circumstantial against me.
Beyond that, there are questions about evidence found at the murder scene. These old beer cans, just feet from Stites' body. Reed's attorneys believe the can suggests someone else was at the murder site the night Stacy Stites was killed.
More recent DNA testing has showed that another person who was a friend of the person who we think did the crime could not be excluded as contributing to that saliva mix as well.
A police officer and friend of Jimmy Fennell, the man Stites planned to marry.
We think the state should be taking a hard look at Mr. Fennell.
It's evidence they say never made it to Reed's trial defense team. Evidence a jury never heard.
Now, I can't tell you that it didn't get misplaced in some fashion. I can't tell you it didn't fall off the table. I can't tell you anything like that. But I can tell you that I have every reason to believe, and do believe, that I did provide that to the defense.
New testimony, old beer cans, and possibly someone else at the crime scene. It will either set him free or one step closer to his execution.
I felt like I should have been home a long time ago.
Rodney Reed waits on death row.
Is it hard to keep going?
When I wake up every morning, I take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. I feel long as I'm breathing, I got my support system out there. A lot of that. And then, like I said, the pictures of my grandchildren and stuff like that, letters and stuff, that keeps me going. The hope that one day I will be released keeps me going.